the whole thing of YouTube. We make money in several different ways through doing YouTube.
Can we live in this house while we build? Probably not. If they are wealthy or have a lot of money, people kind of question, are you kind of swindling off of God's people and the church?
Yeah, probably not often 13 people are living in a place with 2 bedrooms. We've had them tell us, maybe with a different property or something, I think you should think twice about that, you know? When your kids start getting to the age where they start marrying and things and settle down.
Our kids are getting to an age where they're marrying and settling. Have we told the truth about money?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. It's a mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a mystery.
I think there's not much more truth to tell. I mean, hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Sarah.
And I'm Solo.
We're our tribe of many. And we wanted to sit down and talk with you a little bit. We've done this many times, sat down and talked with you, but lately we were thinking...
It's been a while since we did like a sit-down video.
And we were thinking about kind of doing a little series, like a little more podcast format for just a while. We have a few topics we want to talk about. Today we're going to talk about money and our future with YouTube.
Money?
It's a big, hot topic.
Yeah, shocking.
But we have some other ideas, like talking about dieting, birth control.
Oh, jeez.
Race. We'll see if we...
See, she just wants things to blow up in the wrong way. These are topics that are like... some people... No, but they're not.
Fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's good to talk about things sometimes.
Yes. Real things.
So I thought before we get to the main topic, let's just talk a little bit about what is going on in our lives. Good and challenging. What's going on good in our lives right now?
Well, we have a house guest.
Yes.
From 10,000 miles away, maybe more, 9,000 miles away.
Yep. Is that what it is? 9,000?
Uh-huh.
Solo sister's been staying with us for a while, and it is so fun. She's come a few times before, and she always stays about a month, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This time it's just a little over that, and it's so fun having her with us. We all get along with her really well. The kids adore her. She's so much fun. So we end up staying up late.
Yeah, and since COVID, we haven't really had anybody from Kenya come.
Yeah,
that disrupted all that. It's been a while to see people on this side.
Since our last trip to Kenya, which was 2019, I think.
That's right, yeah.
So,
oh no, I guess we went and stayed with her for a little bit, some of us.
Well, but we haven't had anybody here since then.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
So it's been a long time coming. So nice to have her here. We're eating all the good food, trying to cook her all our favorite things, and show her all the best stuff. The other night, Solo and her went out at night after dinner, and then they went and picked up their brother, and they were just cruising around town and went to a coffee shop. I'm like, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was thinking, when do adult siblings just get to hang out together like that? I don't hang out with my brother very often. It's awesome.
Yeah, we're cranking the music up. We probably would have been stopped by a cop and thinking, who are these teenagers?
Were you playing old Swahili music?
Also, older than us. And that's the thing, is that I have a playlist that even people my age would not remember. Like, oh, I remember that as a kid.
Yeah.
And it was already old when we were young. So
yeah.
I mean,
so fun. So we're having a great time with her. She loves the farmhouse, and she spent a few days out here just enjoying the peace and quiet. Without us even, well, with us and then without us, just for the peace and quiet, which is awesome. I love that other people are enjoying it, but that probably brings us to our biggest challenge thing right now.
What is it? What is that about? Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
Sewage issue.
Yes.
Is that what you call it? Oh, septic.
Septic.
Yeah, that sounds a little better.
Yeah, so one of our bubbles was busted recently because when we bought the property, the farmhouse, we call it, we haven't found a real official name. I think
we're getting closer.
We're getting close. Yeah, what we thought to call it, found out in the UK it means something you don't want to know. And so now we're on the search. But
well, let me just say, it's shags, which is
it's a slang word in Kenya
for like the
countryside. Yeah, for countryside. Yeah. So
yeah, we're not using it.
But in the UK, you know it. You already heard it. No, it's not the shags anymore if you're from UK. So yeah. Anyway, there's a house here that we bought. We weren't looking to buy a house. We're looking to buy land, but we found the perfect land with a house on it. Well, the house is small. And the laws or the building code for putting septic tanks go according to the number of bedrooms you have in the house? Well, the number of bedrooms are very few here. To be more specific, 2.
Yeah.
And that determines how big of a septic tank they can do. And so we exhaust the thing. Just staying here for 3-4 days, we put some...
We were wondering, why are all the toilets clogging up with
the
without like putting something down them that would make them clog up all at once. So we knew we had an issue. And probably not often 13 people are living in a place with 2 bedrooms. Although we make it really
we made it 4 bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we created extra bedrooms, but still just our water usage is pushing the limits on the system.
Yeah.
And so that answers our question as to, can we live in this house while we build? Probably not.
Well, we would have to upgrade the septic system, which we'd have to do to build a house anyway. I'm not sure if they'll all be connected. We have a lot of, I think it added a lot more questions and less answers. But, you know, it's a process.
Yeah, but it's nice that we know what we're dealing with.
Yes, we're getting a little closer to knowing the next steps all the time. So if you've been following our story, you know we didn't plan to necessarily buy. We've been looking for land for a long time. Didn't plan to buy a land that had a small house on it. That was kind of not on our radar. So we were looking at some land with big houses that needed remodeling. And then we looked at a lot of land that had no house and just assuming we'd buy land and build later. Right. And so we ended up with a beautiful property, but with a small house, which brought a lot more questions. And right now we have 2 houses. So that was something we didn't really plan on. Not something we want for the long term, for sure.
Can't do it for long.
Like living in 2 places. Yeah,
and economic things have changed. The rates have gone high, quite a bit higher than where we were when we started. You know, the inflation cost of building is high. So a lot of considerations as we make our plans for the future. So
but if we're keeping 2 properties for a long time, we're going to be making money on one of them, hopefully. So so that's more the goal. Anyway, we wanted to talk about money. People love to talk about our money.
Money is funny for us because we found that we get money comments a lot. And I've come to find that there are 2 professions or careers or groups of people, if you want to call it, that get a lot of bad reviews when it comes to money.
And a lot of questions.
And a lot of
questioning. Where's your money coming from?
People,
How much do you make? What, you know?
One of them is people in ministry.
Yes.
Like pastors, to be more specific. If they are wealthy or have a lot of money, people kind of question, are you kind of swindling off of God's people and the church? You get all sorts of people thinking, if they're poor, well, you're supposed to be poor or whatever. But they just get bad, negative vibe when it comes to money. And people actually feel like they are entitled to determine what a pastor should make, what they should not make, or how they should look. You know, amazingly, people that don't even believe in God, people that don't even go to church, have an opinion as to what pastors should make.
Now, in all fairness, there have been pastors that have huge ministries that are in the public, in the spotlight, that have swindled money and done terrible things with money. So.
Absolutely. I think that's true for every industry, but I guess for pastors there's a higher expectation.
Yes.
And which I would also argue it's more likely that if you were to look percentage-wise, there are fewer pastors than any profession that actually have issues with financial integrity. But when a pastor does, oh boy, it gets really bad. But it's not a new...
It hits the news.
It hits the news. It's not a new phenomenon. It's a human problem. It's a sin problem. It's just... And that dates back since man has been in existence. Jesus Christ himself, his treasurer for his ministry, was stealing money from the money bucket, Judas, and even sold them off for money. So these things are not new, and it's not a 21st century phenomenon, but pastors don't get a break in that regard. And for the other one, I think it's the social media people.
Yes. Yeah,
you
that's
get
true.
a lot.
A lot of times you don't realize that social media, you can make money on it, because sometimes people are actually doing social media and don't even realize how to make money on it, and then so there's some confusion about that. I think.
Right.
Or there it's a vagueness of how much money, because it can vary so much.
It can vary very much. Yeah, it really can vary a lot. It's funny how I've seen comments from anywhere from people calling us out on using government money and getting on the welfare system.
Oh, that's true. When you have a lot of kids,
you have a lot of kids, you get
government money.
You're getting and then to where you're like, oh, where do you get all this money from? You know, so people just criticize. And I realize this is like a small percentage of people, especially on this space. Because you guys are amazing, Tribe of Many group here, the family, the guys that have been around for a long time.
Yeah,
we know it's not you guys, really.
Yeah, I do remember one comment though. She was very kind, and she's like, "Oh, it was when we were announcing our land, I think, and she's like, I can't watch this anymore because I'm in a bad place financially, and it's so hard for me to watch you have a second home and have all these things, and because I'm in a bad place personally." And I wrote her back. I felt for her, but also we also share, because we were in a bad place. We've been in really hard places financially too, and we've had breakthrough, and we want to help other people have breakthrough in their finances. In fact, it's one of our jobs, careers, ministry, businesses is helping families get out of debt and get breakthrough in their finances. We've seen it in our own lives happen, and it's we really want to help other people. We want to be encouragement.
We've helped a lot of people to, get on the right track with their finances. That's a passion. And so...
Yeah, we want to be an encouragement to other people. So we don't mind talking about money. We actually like the topic a lot because we want to help other families win in their money. And so many of us, most of us, I would say, go through really hard financial seasons. Yes. Yeah. And we learn a lot from it. I mean, we learned a lot from us, but I did not like watching other people who were doing well. To me, I found it encouraging that I'm not going to be here forever in this situation. And that's why I hope that we can be, I know it's not for everybody, our lives or the amount of kids we have or how we spend our money is not for everybody and to watch it even. And that is totally fine. But we want to be an encouragement to people.
Exactly. So and we've gone through different seasons. I remember the first time, it was like when we were both working, no kids, both working. She was a nurse. I was working at a bank. We were making close to the same amount. But when the baby was coming, she was quitting. And our income went almost by half. Yeah. With more responsibility. You know, you go through the season and things change. You know, so life is kind of like that. You can't go in comparing yourself to other people, good or bad. It's just not a healthy way to live. You know, you find your happiness and recognize the season you're in and know that seasons do end. Yeah. They come and go, you know? Yeah, the truth is we work really hard, but actually I would say in the season that we had very little money, we also worked very hard. Yep. We worked very hard. And so, but eventually we got breakthrough. We have a number of things that we do. YouTube pays us. I mean, the whole thing of YouTube. We make money in several different ways through doing YouTube, but we do make great money doing YouTube, and we are so blessed by it. We feel so grateful for each one of you who have watched our channel and supported us even over the years, or maybe even just recently found us. We actually feel so much gratitude toward it. We know that the Lord has built what He gave us, and this platform, you know, it could go away at any time, which obviously I believe any job can just disappear at any time. And so we try to be good stewards with what we've been given. We're very, very thankful for it. But we make money with YouTube. We make money pastoring. That is actually where we spend the most of our time, especially him. By far, even our whole family is involved a lot. And then also Solo has a business, like I mentioned, helping people with their finances. And so he's done that for years and years, even before he was full-time pastoring. So we got a lot of things going. We also have a lot of mouths to feed for a long time. Yes, so, and the Lord provides for each one of those children. That's what I would say over and over. He has provided in miraculous ways. Every season. It's not always easy, but it's not always hard, you know. But it's just keep doing the right things. For a long time. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
I want to tell one story. Hopefully you're okay with it. You can tell me, hey, let's take it.
Tell me what it's about.
Just how you always wanted to be able to take your kids to Kenya. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay. As our family was growing, one of your big concerns, to be very honest, was that you wanted, as our family grew. Yeah, you wanted to still be able to take our family to Kenya. And that was a real concern. We had that conversation a lot.
Is that we don't want to get to a place where we cannot go to Kenya because we can't afford to go to Kenya.
Yeah, obviously we wanted to feed and educate our children and all the basics, but also that was a really big... we also want their
cultural heritage, you know.
Yeah, it was a big thing. Like, we want to be able to take our kids to Kenya. We're having more and more kids, and we don't necessarily see the finances that would... It is very expensive to take your family across the world, and so...
It's expensive to take one person across the world, you know, so... we should get... Yeah, we probably could get a rental, like a charter plane, and end up... No, I don't
Can't afford that. Every time we're able to go, whether it seems like it's going to be easy or it seems very challenging, and the Lord just provides for us, even at the last second,
right.
It's
getting
felt
great
like
deals on tickets, like incredible deals on tickets. Remember one time I got tickets like a few months out before I was like, wow, I have to get these tickets. Yeah. They were just so good, couldn't pass them up.
And the last one, we drove all the way to Chicago to save thousands.
And that one, we could have afforded tickets, but it could not justify.
Oh, it's so much.
It was so much money.
Anyway, each time we've been able to go, we just stand in amazement of how
God
the Lord
is
has
so
provided
good.
and for that thing that, you know, it's not necessary.
And he knows it's important
living.
for us. He knows it's important for us, and so
yeah, it's been great. Like, we didn't see it as we were having those babies. We didn't see how it would all work out, but the Lord works it out. So anyway, let's talk a little bit for a second about how we run our finances and some practical things that could be an encouragement for people. Because it's not just about the money we've made. In fact, over the years when we've made very little, we've learned a lot too. Right.
And that's the thing, I think, for a lot of people I have found. And I've worked with many families over the years, hundreds, perhaps in the thousands, in my career and a business, just helping people with making plans for their finances. One of the things that we've learned, some of the best lessons, some of the best habits, some of the best things that we've implemented into our system have come through times where we were not making a lot. And so one of the first ones that, like I mentioned earlier, when we became new parents and we took almost a 50% cut in our pay with adding a kid.
Our pay wasn't a lot at the time anyway.
At the time, And so going back to that, we mastered the budget as it relates to us.
Yes.
And planning, because everything was like, you gotta have a plan for it. Well, some of those plans we continued on, even as our income increased year by year, we kept the same principles. Yes. And that's where a lot of people who don't, so when you're going through hardships, it's not always bad. It's hard, but it's not always bad because some of the best things can come out of hard situations because you can learn. You can use a hardship to either learn or just make yourself feel sad about it. It doesn't help to feel sad, but to kind of press on and take lessons from those seasons.
Yeah, and it's not for everybody, but we noticed our spending could get out of hand really easily in groceries and eating out in certain areas where if we just kept a good eye on it and spent what we want to spend, looking at how we already spend, that we could make our money work for us in other ways. And so we would stretch ourselves. We would keep ourselves in a budget in those areas, especially that would tend to get out of control if you don't pay attention to them. And then we would stretch ourselves for things like a house, because we would stretch ourselves. Like, I remember 3 houses, we doubled the size of our house each time and doubled the mortgage and all that. But we made money on the houses that we sold. Or the house, it's not like we had several at once. When we would sell a house, we would make good money and we would stretch ourselves each time for the investment of a home. That's just how we chose to delegate our funds, you know, and it really worked well for us too.
Right. And so going back to the goals, like the house and things like that, those are long-term goals. And then you also, but long-term goals cannot be achieved without having the day-to-day where you're living in. So, but we are all not the same.
Yes.
We have different interests. And this is where I found many times people who talk about money and budgeting, and I don't know all of them, but I just think the style is that there's a sense of negativity where people feel like it's too restrictive. No, it's not restrictive. It's actually you taking control and identifying the areas that are important to you. Find your passions. Find the things that are important to you.
Yeah.
Budget for those things, right? But also recognize the areas that are your weak points. For some people, it's just mindlessly going shopping. Maybe it's Amazon or Target or Walmart, whatever. So if you find one area to be an area of interest, budget that area. Predetermine what you're going to be spending on that. Again, it's your money.
Right.
It's your life. You can evaluate and say, hey, I really like to spend more money shopping because that's so budget more for shopping. But you decide, pre-decide. Right. Don't let it just spontaneously determine how much you spend.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people I've met with thousands, like I said, of families, and personally, I mean, I'm talking just personal in groups over the years. Here's where the problem happens when you don't control that and put those things in your life is that when you have less, you find a way to get by. And then when people have a lot, if they have a good break, they have a bonus, they have something big, an inheritance happens, they spend like crazy. And so you can blow through money so quickly without establishing those measures. I call it freedom within boundaries. Yeah. Set the boundaries, but you have all the freedom within those boundaries that you preset yourself.
Yes, and what we've noticed is that when we're on the same page, talking about it consistently, even if consistently is once every couple months or once a week, whatever, we've gone through different seasons. When we're on the same page with our goals, then if a break comes, we know exactly what we're doing with that. Right. For a season, we were getting out of debt, so we knew exactly where break money would go and different things like that. So the biggest thing I want to say is that when we are on the same page together, we as believers, we pray together about our budget and stuff, and the Lord gives us breakthroughs when we're on the same page. We notice if we stop being on the same page, stop talking about it, stop making goals together, it feels like we don't make any progress at all. And when we do, it goes so much farther than even what we knew maybe might be coming.
Yes.
And money comes from surprising places. So that is a huge key.
Huge thing for couples.
Yeah.
I think there's some biblical principles there about unity. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a fight because oftentimes with marriage or relationships, well, opposites attract. And that's a strength, not a weakness. So you'll find that spouses sometimes
one's a spender,
one's a spender, one's more frugal or whatever. But there's just different personalities, and the issue is not changing the other person's personality, other than working towards common goals.
Yes.
Now, how you get through to that can be, it should be a matter of dialogue and agreement. When you have an agreement. There's a scripture that says that where there is unity, God commands a blessing. Right. You don't have to think the same way, but you have to agree on principle on certain things and say, hey, here's what we're going to work for. Let's work towards together. Let's try to look at this meeting again and see where we are at and be flexible.
Yeah, and because I know the question might be in some of your minds when we are talking with and helping couples that are very much on different pages, whether one of them is a spender and one of them is absolutely not. What we recommend is start at the other side and look at your goals together, like he said.
Right.
Try to get on the same page on your goals first and then walk backward. And also, it's great for the person who's a spender to have a budget to spend to some point that you guys agree on together, because we're not trying to change personalities here and different things like that. Just because you're a saver and your spouse is not doesn't mean you're better than them or whatever.
Right.
Let's work together to have some budget that both of you feel comfortable with, that they can walk down the aisles of Target. I personally stay out of Target because Target's too pretty and it makes me want to spend money, and I don't want to, later I'll regret it. Like, oh, now I got to declutter more stuff. So,
right.
But when you really figure out what is important to you, you make the budget based on that. That can help couples. At least it's a start. So
exactly. Let me hit one point on that you raised. Sometimes people, when they are in a restricted budget, tend to feel guilty to do things that are fun. And I think that's a mistake that people make.
Yes.
Especially, let's say, for example, in a relationship, someone has a passion or has a hobby that may seem vain to the other person, and certain hobbies do cost money.
Yeah.
I think they think that just helping couples communicating and being on the same page around money ideas is that if there is a hobby, you don't have to squash your spouse or your partner down. You need to just talk about it in reality and have an agreeable amount if it's important enough to your spouse. And so you're just in agreement. Says, hey, well, we'll fund your passion, but this is what we need to do. Be in agreement. If you can find unity, you're opening doors for a blessing there. So it's sometimes people fight, and some might be wasteful, but find a way to get a realistic agreement. But you don't have to necessarily neglect maybe passion or hobby, because a happy person typically does better than an unhappy person.
Yeah. So,
it doesn't have to be negative. Budgeting does not have to have a negative connotation to it. And the other thing I wanted to add with what I was saying, especially when it comes to couples and stuff, or even individuals, an important thing you can center around your life is having counsel in your life, like wise counsel. There are some wise people around your life, people that are credible, that you could just kind of sometimes throw out ideas and get thinking. You don't have to copy exactly what they say, but wise counsel is so important. So many people limit their potential because they never seek wise counsel in their life. And by wise counsel, I don't mean you have to go in a counseling session. Yeah. It's just having people that have maybe superior knowledge in certain areas, or are just wise in general. They know, through living life and just hearing thoughts from people that are credible and maybe know more or have had a different road. It's so important.
We've always had a handful of people that we have talked to when we're making job changes. When he quit his job and then things got really hard with our business, we would go back to him and like, do you still feel like we're on the right track? And they would encourage us. Yes, even though it looks hard right now, push through. So you need that sometimes. And I'm so glad we did. But boy, if it was just our own natural flesh, we would have quit.
Right, because when you are in the middle of a situation, you are too emotionally connected to the actual situation that sometimes you can't make objective decisions. Yes. And so running through some wise counsel, say, hey, here's what I'm thinking. Do you have a thought? I don't have to do what they say, but it at least helped me run through and give me a different perspective or an angle, perhaps a blind side spot that was completely blind to me. So then I can make good decisions.
We've always done it with big purchases. When we purchase a different house, when we decide to move, okay, we're jumping here. What do you guys think? Here's our situation. And even when we bought this property, we asked key people in our lives, and we always do. Yep.
Even sometimes business decisions that are big, it's like, hey, here's what I'm looking at. What would you think? I have some close friends or wiser people that I would ask.
Yes, and they're not yes men.
No.
They are people that will be like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Yeah. I think looking at this, like we've had them tell us, maybe with a different property or something, I think you should think twice about that, what I see in your lives and how you function normally, think about this. And, it's so good to have counsel. It goes so far. And to listen to them.
you read the book of Proverbs, it talks a lot about just having good counsel in your life and how it's good for her, it's healthy. So sometimes that answers or ideas can come outside of yourself. Yeah. It can be just someone else's, even one nugget one light bulb can
Yeah.
make a significant difference, or even in a course of direction.
Yeah.
Keep you from making bad decisions,
Yep.
or catapult you into making a great decisions.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
I think all the people that are in our lives that have been our counsel are people of faith, and they've encouraged us to stretch ourselves. One of us would maybe want to hold back or something. They've encouraged us, no, step outside of the box. It's okay. This risk is good. You're going to be okay, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So anyway, another third thing that really, besides the budgeting and the counsel and walking in faith with our finances, is generosity, being generous.
Absolutely. You have to be.
And that's a spiritual principle, whether you're a Christian or not. I think that's a principle in the world. You look at rich people that don't know the Lord at all. A lot of them are very generous and got to where they are because they're very generous people. It's just a spiritual principle.
Yeah,
That's the
simple
word.
like this. If you hold your fists right here, I got my money, it's mine, you know? Well, you got your money fairly secure,
Yeah.
right? But nothing else can come in.
Mm-hmm.
But if you kind of live in open arms, yeah, you'll get more, but you also are able to use your resources
Yeah.
to be a blessing to others. So keeping that heart of generosity, and it's not for only when you have a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think it's a principle of the heart. You
Yeah.
you can live generously throughout life, whether you are in a very abundant season, if you want to call it that way, a prosperous series, or whether you're in a struggling season. Find ways to be generous. Generous with your time,
Yeah.
generous with your money, generous with tangible things, you know?
There was a season in our life where it was very tight.
Right.
And it was hard to buy groceries, honestly. It was really hard. And we had chosen to we were just believing the Lord
When a
to supply.
transition from...
Yeah, we had decided not to get, there was a lot of different help we could have gotten in the food area, and we just didn't feel right about it at the time. We're like, okay, we know the Lord's going to supply. He told us to do this, and so we're just like barely making it. Oh, it was really hard. And I remember talking to Solo one time, and we were talking about, I really felt like we're not ourselves because we weren't able to be generous.
So much, yeah.
Yeah, we always tie through. That's just something we do. It wasn't something we stopped in.
We
that
did
season.
that before we even got married. We individually did that. Yeah.
Yes, but beyond that, we're used to, like, you know, we really sell things. We give things away, and we want to just bless other people. And I felt like we weren't even ourselves. This season went on.
Our budget was so tight
for a while.
to do that, yeah.
It was hard, and I remember we came to the conclusion. You know what? We have a car that we don't really need right now. We could go to one car family and let's give our car away. And we did. It was a small little car.
It felt great.
We gave it to a young lady at church that needed a car at the time, and it felt so good to just be generous with what we had. We literally could not have given her $25, but we gave her a car. I mean, it was awesome. And actually, when we look back, that was the beginning of the breakthrough for us. So there is a huge key to just being generous and finding ways. It felt so good to give a car away and just, you know, be generous. We asked the Lord about when we're giving, and we follow His direction, but we do like to
not lose generous spirit just because you're in a tight season.
Yeah.
You know, there's always a way you could bless somebody in need.
Yeah. And the needs can be overwhelming. I mean, we're pastoring and we see needs all the time, but we really follow the Lord's direction, but we do keep that part of our lives. So let's talk about our future as it pertains to YouTube and money. As far as we know, like, we don't know our future, obviously.
Yeah, no, like our plans and stuff. You know, YouTube has been awesome for us. It's kind of funny. It's weird to think it's been 5 years. Because when you started it, it was like gonna be just a 1 year commitment. I can't even believe that we are 5 years on YouTube, and it's still a year-to-year commitment for us.
The memories we made on it are so fun, and they go back and watch them all the time, and I'm so thankful for those. I'm working on a course that should hopefully, it's a lot of work, but it should hopefully come out soon, so that's exciting. So yeah, that's kind of what I have been thinking about. You know, a lot of YouTubers sell products, and we do some brand deals here and there, not very often, but I would rather sell my own product, to be honest with you, and so that's what I'm working on, my own product. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
What about the church? The future with the church? People are always like, when are you moving to Florida?
We don't. We made a commitment in both of our lives, even before we got married. We will always be where we believe that the Lord wants us to be. So ministry, as we do it, ministry is not a career for us.
Yeah.
It's part of our life. It's a call. And so we are in Lincoln, Nebraska because we believe this is where the Lord has called us to be. And pastoring the church here, City Church in Lincoln, Nebraska.
If we can move our church to Florida,
we'll take them all. Or to Kenya or something, split the time, you know.
Yeah, right.
You know, so we don't know that. So that for us, it's always, if the Lord says, well, it's time, we will be like Abraham.
Yeah.
Pitch up your tent and go to the place where I will show you. So we've always kind of looked at that placement very differently. That it's not something we choose the placement. It's something the Lord leads us. And He has led, you know, and so...
I think, I have a feeling we'll be here for a long time.
You do?
Yes, even if we're not pastoring the church. Because when your kids start getting to the age where they start marrying and things and settle down...
Our kids are getting to an age where they're marrying and settling down?
No, they're not, but they will be soon getting to that age. It happens
so you're saying
fast.
if we have to move, we should do it now?
I mean, really. I think they'll probably start settling here, and that will keep our roots here for a long time.
Sure,
so.
I can see that.
But we're here for our church.
Right, and I can see us being here a long time too.
Yeah. Maybe snowbirding.
Who knows? Who knows?
In Kenya.
It's very mysterious. Yeah. Well, so we've had changes in our lives over the years, especially like I mentioned how YouTube started. Even when Sarah talked to me about I want to start a YouTube channel, never really thought of it being on it that much, and we've always taken it year by year. But it was very successful. Much credit to her, her determination. It's a lot of work on the back end. People don't always appreciate how much time and sacrifices go into creating the videos and keeping up with the videos. And then the second respect is all of you guys that have been with us all this time that are so supportive and are amazing. And it became very successful, but it changed our time where we have to prioritize our time and stuff. So with my business, the YouTube got really successful, and the business, the church, and a lot of children started kind of scaling back on my business, which we mentioned earlier, helping families with their finances, advising, creating plans for families to pay off debt. That's something we've always been huge advocates for. Keeping debt at a minimum. We don't carry debt ourselves other than real estate debt for houses and stuff like that. But most of the time we avoid others, and we avoid other debts, and we help families get to that place as well. So, but it has been very regional, and we haven't had the bandwidth to go to help a lot of people. In fact, some of you have reached out and say, hey, could you be our advisor? Could you do this? And we just can't do it. We haven't been able to do it just for time's sake. But we have been working on expanding our team and expanding our base to actually eventually go nationwide and be licensed in all 50 states. So that's coming up into our horizon as our team is growing and getting bigger. So you might be hearing, you will be hearing more about when we come to a state near you. So
yeah, he's taking his principles and multiplying himself into other people that can help. So
yeah, we got a great team working right now, so we might be in your state as well soon.
Yeah, so that's really exciting.
Yeah.
I think that's the basics. Is there anything else you want to say about money?
Have we told the truth about money?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. It's a mystery.
Yeah.
It's a mystery.
I think there's not much more truth to tell. I mean, we don't owe anybody our bank statements, so.
No. And the other thing, it's very interesting. It's great, awesome, and annoying at the same time.
Yeah.
Awesome because most decent people and wonderful people, which is the 99.99% of people who follow this channel, are awesome. Don't care about your stuff in terms of. But it's a few that do.
Yeah, and so many people were so happy for us finding land. You all think we're going to be real happy we're here now because it's quieter. But it is very quiet out here, and we are very happy here. I wish we lived here. But alas.
The house is too small, not the septic. Unless we are the boys, you're always in the bush, or the trees, you know, who knows.
Yeah, we haven't started a building process yet. I mean, we've taken a couple steps, but we haven't done anything much yet, so.
Yeah, so.
Anyway, lots to look forward to. Let us know in the comments below if you like this format. I mean, hopefully you'll be able to clean while you listen or get something done. But yeah, anyway.
And if there are any topics that you would like for us to talk about, is that good? Is that the right question?
Sure.
Yeah.
That sounds great. And we'll talk to you guys soon in the next video. Thank you guys for watching today.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, man, Nebraska. What is wrong with you guys? Okay, I gotta turn off this phone because it's not good news. It's bad news all the time.
Then you're gonna have a hard time smiling.
Yeah. I gotta be happy. Keep this phone away from me.
Thank you, I will. Happily.
Yeah. All right. Nebraska football scores. Still losing. We lost. We lost.